Hi, this is B.MARIE from Where I'm From Podcast, and I just wanted to jump on here real quick just to give you an intro to the episode coming up with Reverend PJ. I just wanted to jump on here really quickly and, just give a few little disclaimers because as I do all my videos, I rewatch my videos before they are posted on the platforms so I can, prepare them for the editor. And as I was rewatching this video, I decided to just make a small clip. First, I want to say thank you for sharing space with me and our Where I'm From podcast community. And I also want to just want you to tell yourself that you deserve to have everything in this world. And that we're all just out here trying to figure it out. And for the most of us, I would like to believe that we're all trying to do our best. I decided to create the video with Rev PJ because I wanted to start the conversation of men's mental health. And as I continue to do that, I will seek out men who have on the Where I'm From podcast platform and, just to engage in conversations so we can each one teach one with our men out here, because men, to me, in my perspective, in my experience, in my life, are important, just as important as the women as well. So I wanted to jump on here and just do this little quick intro video to just give a trigger warning, first of all, to the video coming up and the things that are talked about in there. We did a somatic exercise, and I just wanted to make sure that I am very clear that the message does not get lost, right? As I was rewatching the message, I was thinking about the decisions that we make in our life, right? And the decisions that me and Coach made, to partner for 10 years, to start a business, to have a personal relationship, those were not the only decisions that, I made in my life and that he made in the life that led us up to the point of him deciding to die by suicide. Right. So I touched base a little bit on one of the decisions that we make to engage in the polyamorous lifestyle and how it started off with me engaging in a relationship with a married man and a lot of toxicity and a lot of bad decision making, poor decision making on all parties. But I'm going to just speak for myself in depth, not anyone else. But poor decision making for all parties involved. But like I said, that is not the only decision, good or bad, that happened in any of our lives, right? So that does not define any of us, does not define me or my partner, Coach. So I just wanted to jump on here and just make sure that the message does not get lost. That was not the message for the video. The message was that men, we definitely would love to see a lot more of our men healing, engaging in healing activities, and making sure that all of us, men or women, are living in our authentic self. Because a lot of times we make bad decisions, right? That, like me, choosing to participate in a relationship with a married man, and then at a certain point, trying my best to make it poly with with the other partners involved, knowing that that wasn't a good decision. However, that decision was made, like I said in the video, based on a person who I was at that time, not living in my authentic self. So because the video was designed with me and Rev, to directed towards the men in our society, that healing is important. Living in your authentic self is important. Making decisions that create happiness. I will tell you that I have found that when I make decisions for myself, things that are healthy for me, things that bring me joy and happiness, things that do not create pain, unnecessary pain. I'm not choosing pain today, right? So when I make decisions with that in mind, everything else falls in line. Do bad things happen? Yes, they do. However, I will have lots of the other polar, which is good in life. So yeah, I just wanted to jump on here and just give that disclaimer. Like, we have to live in our authentic selves. We have to be honest. We have to be honest with ourselves first, so then we can in turn be honest with others. And this is extremely important. And I want to specify for the men, because this video was made for y'all. Okay, we have lots of videos that are versatile for men and women, but this specific video was made for y'all. So I didn't want the message to get lost in whatever else can come. The message was, please heal, that you are very important. Men in our society are very important. We need y'all. We need y'all to stay out here. Women, we need to continue to create spaces for our men to make sure that if they come to us, or if we have any type of conversation with them and they are expressing suicide, or we think they're going to commit suicide, we need to tell their families, their mothers, their sisters. We need to have an intervention. We need to stand up for our men. It is not in our men's best interest for us to keep that a secret. Okay? It's not. I wish I would have known that my partner was thinking about suicide, because when I started to see other things come about, such as more alcoholism, I tried. And there are a lot of things that I hold guilt and shame for, but that is not one of them. That is a choice that was made that I had no idea about. And when people, you know what I mean, like, even in the things that I did have, I had ideas about other things. And sometimes in these relationships that we're in, like, we're not making the best decisions. And before I ramble on, because this was supposed to just be an intro trigger warning video, and I just wanted to leave you with that message: be your authentic self. And let's just make better decisions. And men, we love you. And please heal and stay out here with us, because you are our counterparts. You are so important, and you are so necessary to this society. I don't give a fuck what social media says or does. And I'm going to get off here before I start crying. But you are so important. You are needed, and you are loved. All right? I love you. Bye. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to another episode of Where I'm From Podcast with your girl, B.MARIE. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share, and hit that notification bell to be alerted whenever new episodes come out. Thank you for joining us today. We have a wonderful, exciting episode, and I'm excited about our guest today. He is Rev PJ. His other name is James Greg. I just read that here. So I'm going to work with my notes here so I can just stay on track. Those who watch my videos before know that I always have a laptop or a notebook with me and a pen. Before I came on here to do this episode today, I went and did research. So I went to your website just to make sure, in preparation for this episode, because these kind of episodes are very emotional. So I just want to make sure that we're coming fully prepared and just getting the most out of each episode that we can with the guests when we have them here with us. And I just want to thank you for joining me on this episode and allowing me to share space with you for healing, very specifically today for men's mental health and healing. Reverend PJ is a master certified life coach with over 1,000 hours of practice. He is a certified trauma recovery coach at the advanced level. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Prior to beginning the Inside Out experience, formerly known as Inside Out Solutions, PJ worked as a spiritual teacher and community leader for over 20 years. He has a heart and a knack for helping people to both identify and walk into being their authentic self. A quote from him is, "With permission, I transmute what is causing pain, blockages, and or misalignment. This results in people living their best life from the inside out." Rev PJ, let's get you living your best life.
All right.
The Inside Out experience has been offering coaching and consultation services since 2013. That's good. That's longevity. I was introduced to Rev PJ through my trauma recovery coach, Pepper Joy, who was on episode 3, having a conversation with me about trauma responses. If you would love to watch that video, it will be available to click somewhere on the screen. Bear with me, I'm still learning this YouTube technology process. PJ and I'm sorry, 1 second. Okay, these computers, bear with me, I'm sorry. PJ and Pepper Joy have helped small businesses and individuals have healthier relationships and understanding of the intersectionality of life. From the beginning, being culturally mindful, communally safe, and individually empowering has been the heart cry of their practice. Their vision has to been walk out healing with the harmed and with the harmed and offer up the wisdom of our ancestors for guidance and restoration. It is their belief that with the power to move from survival, woundedness, and toxicity comes from within. You are not what has happened to you, but you become what you do with that. That's a word. Apparently, I'm getting to do this laptop too. All right. Unlike traditional therapy, they acknowledge and support that in order to truly live a fulfilling life, the mind, body, and spirit must be aligned and included in the process. There is no one and done cure for fixing mindsets, combating conditioning, and programming. Life is a journey, and on that journey, we all deserve a village for support. That's extremely important, to have people in your life that support and love you. Every day, we make choices in service to survival or thriving. In those choices, you are doing the heavy lifting, the work of living one way or another. If you're going to be spending energy living, wouldn't you like to be spending it from a space of healing and growing into a more authentic you? I say yes. And that's what I'm striving for every day. We are honored to be in the collective of humans helping to heal the world on a soul deep level. We invite you to join us, and we are honored to be with you in this space and time, even if it's only through the reading of these very words. Release yourself to your destiny and live your best life from the inside out. Oh my gosh, like even that makes me want to cry because I've been struggling the last couple of days emotionally, and I was like, I have to really just continue to show up for myself so I can show up for others too. So great. Well, hello, Rev PJ, and thank you again for being on this episode today and sharing the space of healing with me and our Where I'm From community. We're gonna start off by telling us where you are from and how that has influenced you, who you are today.
Okay, well, first of all, thank you for the welcome, and I'm incredibly honored to be here as well. This is a sacred moment that will never be repeated, and I respect that and acknowledge that you are everything that you want to be. Okay.
Okay, I received that.
I am from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania originally. I was telling you before we started the recording that my family moved to South Jersey when I was about 8 years old, and really all that changed was where I slept. So I claim Philadelphia as my home, and my whole lot of people that I know are still there. grew up in the city, and again, South Jersey, played and slept in South Jersey sometimes. And I was educated ultimately in Philadelphia schools, all the way through college. And then I left Philadelphia around 1992 and went to Bible college and later seminary. And that's where my spiritual teaching came in. And I pastored churches, planted churches. I planted 5 churches. And probably around the time that I was planting the second to the last church, I started unpacking my spirituality.
Okay.
And just really came to the conclusion in about 2010 that we were doing this wrong.
Okay.
And yeah, and I just, when I finally got to that point, I literally could not continue to be a vocational minister. And what that means is that I got paid for what I did. And knowing that it was wrong and knowing that I didn't have an answer to correct it,
Okay.
it weighed too heavy on me. So I decided to step away and explore spirituality.
That's awesome. That was a very bold and brave move too, especially
You have no idea.
and what'd you say? I missed that.
I said you have no idea.
Yeah, no, I couldn't even imagine. I never been in, from what I know now and from what resonates with me, I will just say that I'm grateful that I didn't have that trauma experience because, well, I don't know if that was trauma for you, but the religion, the constructive religion for me sounds pretty traumatic. Like growing up in a family like that, I couldn't, when I hear those stories, I'm just like, I do appreciate that people have something to, hold on to and get them through.
Yes.
But yeah, and
that's not for me.
Yeah, it's not for me.
And if I may, I mean, I'm not a guy that was injured by the church at all.
Yeah.
And that is one difference between Pepper and I.
Yeah.
She was terribly injured by the church. I was not.
Yeah.
My pastor growing up had basically one message, and it was love 52 weeks a year.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's good. I'm glad you had that experience.
When I became a minister, that was, my foremost message was love, not rules, not, who's different. We don't, I think that especially in the, in these days that we're living in currently, when we think of religion or church or whatever, these people because of who they don't like.
Yeah.
And I was never that guy.
It's a lot of that. It's a lot of that. It definitely is. So let me just see what is next. So I have to do the where I'm from as well. So I'm from New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
I'm originally from Atlantic City, New Jersey. And I grew up in an urban environment. I wore his shirt too. I just noticed it. I wore his shirt. So this is our other guest that's going to be here with us, Coach Hartman. This is my partner that's on my shirt. Because I felt like this episode, I wanted him to come with me on this episode. So I'm from New Jersey and I grew up in Atlantic City, and I grew up I had a hard life. I didn't have a lot of structure. I was on my own at an early age, went into the lifestyle of prostitution, lost my mother at 15, suffered a lot of trauma, and became a cosmetologist. So at some point I went to jail and they sent me to Newark, New Jersey. And that's where, during the time I was in a halfway house, I went to cosmetology school. And then I started going to college. And during my time in college is where I met my partner, Coach Scandal, but he was the professor. I've talked about it on other videos. And then once I decided that I was in school to be a counselor while I was a cosmetologist. and he was one of the counseling intern teachers. So I did a lot of credits, and I got to a certain point during my internship where I was like, this is not about to be my life. So I'm going to stop going to school for this, and I'm going to stay in cosmetology. So once we were done with that, Coach Hartman asked me out on a date. So we started dating after that. And, you know, I moved on from college at that time. And then we moved very quickly. We moved to Georgia 2 months after we met. So I have shared that on other videos, so we're not going to make that video about this, but I will say that we did not know each other, and then we embarked on this adventure. We trauma bonded very quickly.
Yeah.
I have talked about that. We embarked on this journey down here to Georgia, and I will bring this up because it's going to be significant on what I'm going to talk about later. He was married, and he was lying and saying that he was separated, and he left his family in New Jersey to come down here. His new baby and the wife that I thought he was going to get a divorce from. I could not. Talking about this just makes me like, because it's insane. But and I was acting like, when I watched y'all video earlier, I was acting out of survival. Like I don't know none of this stuff about, like I couldn't have made a different decision until if I was who I am right now. Wow. Like at that time, he was like Superman to me. Like I was like, this guy is not. I've always dated drug dealers. I've always been outside in the street life. I've never had a regular, like what I thought, like a regular guy with a profession. And he's so amazing because also y'all talk about parts where he had many different parts of him, like we all do. So he had an amazing side, and we just kept trauma bonded like that. He was running from something, and I was running from something, because I was previously coming out of a relationship that ended up where I pretty much broke up with the guy because I wasn't in love with him, and I ended up with him pretty quickly. So fast forward, we came down here to a salon. I told him I'm moving out of New Jersey 2 months after we met, and he was like, I'm moving too. So he was running from his trauma. I was running from my trauma. And we came down here to Georgia, and we tried to set a foundation like that. And at that time, we were both toxic. So a few months after we got here, maybe like a year or so, I don't even know if it was that long, he came to me and told me that he was bringing the wife and the baby down here. And he kept a lie going. And on Pepper's episode 2, I opened up about I didn't realize that this episode was going to go like this, but I opened up about him killing himself in front of me or dying by suicide, whatever the term is. And I never thought I was going to share that like publicly because people judge. So they about to judge me. They about to judge us now too. So fuck it. They about to judge us. So he brought them down here, but he kept a lie going. And it's so crazy because her and we dealt with this lie, knowing that it was a lie for so many years. Like I was with him for 10 years. So for a strong first 5 years of our relationship, he was just lying, going back and forth saying it's just business with her. It's just a child with her. And he kept us like that. And I say that to say that that's going to come up later in our conversation because I feel like, let me just stay on track. So you can talk too. So we came down here to Georgia, and at the time of his passing, we were down here for like almost 10 years. So we did the song and dance for almost 10 years. Fast forward, I got cancer and I started to separate myself from that. A lot of stuff happened in between that time. A lot of healing on my part too. So just from my opinion, and this is however they feel about what they are, the other two adult parties, we're not on the same journey. We're on a different journey. Yeah. When I got cancer, like even before I got cancer, I stopped being like super toxic. I was working with Pepper, addressing my anger issues and all of that stuff. And Coach was a life coach. He was an author. He was a father, a partner, a husband, everything, all of that. I just don't, I feel like because of his life story, which I'm not going to talk too much about that, but from what I know from being with him, and what he wrote in his books that are out there in the world. So this ain't TMZ, y'all, because people watching. They watching, they watching. He was a 13-year-old drug dealer. Fast forward to my relationship and everything that he's told me and I read in his books about his life, he never healed from that 13-year-old boy.
Yeah.
And it's very unfortunate. And the reason why I wanted to make this video very specifically is because men and people, they stay stuck in trauma. And like I just really felt like that he didn't get, and the reason, very specifically, the reason why I feel like that is because everybody in his life, myself included, put him on such a high pedestal and kept him there only. He was only Superman. That was the only part that he got to play.
Wow.
Because at 13 years old, he had to help with the household, and then he moved into marriages with children. Now he got to play the husband role. To me, I love him, and this is the reason why I talk about this, because so many men, because I absolutely feel like we need y'all.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna leave this part right here. I'm gonna let you speak on what I've talked about, but I really feel like that he just did what everybody else wanted him to do, including myself. Coming down here to do a business with me, it was the opportunity. I'm a cosmetologist. And then it's just like, I just feel like he really started to wake up based on our conversations that he's actually a human. And he just was like, I'm not dealing with this shit. I'm the fuck out of here.
Right.
More alcohol came. And I just feel like the way that he was built up. And even I think about that I'm gonna stop there, and I'm gonna let you just talk about that. I'm gonna say some of this more, because I could talk for days.
Well, Brittany, it's interesting. I heard you say that he was stuck in his trauma at 13 years old, and that is exactly what it is. People don't realize this, but you get into a sort of arrested development every time, specifically in your childhood, there's a trauma, and that will carry over into, as it were, being an adult. And because emotionally he was still back there. And as somebody, I've been doing a lot of shadow work probably for the last 4 years, and I identified my anchor trauma, and it happened when I was 4.
Yeah.
So what that means is that, and I was a smart 4-year-old. Just by the way, I was really
smart.
I was really smart. I was in Mensa, all that. But
Mensa, what's that?
Well, Mensa is a club for people that are in the top 2% of the world in IQ.
Okay.
It doesn't really mean anything though.
It sounds important though.
Yeah, it sounds important, but it really doesn't mean. I mean, I'm not impressed by it. I mean, I've met people that won Nobel Prizes that can't hold a conversation. So, you know what I mean? You can be as smart as you want, but if you're not, if you're not adapted and in tuned with your, with people that you're trying to relate to, it doesn't matter how smart you are.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I recognize that some of the things that I do when my nervous system shifts into survival mode were the very things that I did to protect myself and my family when I was 4. I lost a loved one when I was 4. She was my person, as they say.
Yeah.
It was my mother's. It was my grandmother's sister, my maternal grandmother's sister. And we were in an airport, and we were running for the plane. I don't know, I mean, the memories are here and there, and sometimes I remember right. My mother says, well, maybe that didn't happen. But we were running for the plane. I don't know if it was just because she was trying to entertain me or because we were late. I don't remember. But she dropped dead of a heart attack. And right in front of me, we were in, I want to say we were at the Tallahassee airport in Florida, coming back from Georgia. And I'm stuck down there for the first time in my life, I don't see any Black people that are,
Yeah.
I can talk to. This is Tallahassee in 1973. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So, there weren't a lot of Black people. I don't remember any Black faces. So that's traumatic. Somebody came and tried to save her with CPR and whatnot, and I attacked that person. The police came. Obviously, they took care of me and got me home. They asked me a lot of questions about where I was from, and I just happened to know everybody in my life's address and phone number.
Well, that's where that word is, that IQ stuff you was talking about. I forgot.
I got great recall, and no one answered though. No one answered. So they came to me and said, "Hey, none of those numbers are working for us." So I said, "Well, it's Saturday. My mother will be at the church. My mother had a choir, and they rehearsed on Saturday. So I said, my mother will be at the church. I did not know the phone number to the church, but I knew the name of the church and the address. And I gave that to the cops. They called the church, got a hold of my family, and the rest is history. But the traumatic part, the anchor trauma, was when I got off the plane. I'm holding the hand of my escort, and I see my mother at the end of the jetway. For you young people, you used to be able to go all the way to the gate before 9/11. And I see my mother and father at the end of the jetway, and I dropped the guy's hand and I ran to my mother, and my mother lost it. She didn't have the capacity to comfort me, so I ended up comforting her.
Yeah. Oh. And during your shadow work, you were able to heal that or start to work through that?
Yes. And what I realized though was that, to add insult to injury, I never mourned my person. I never got a chance to.
Yeah. Because you was always in survival mode.
I was stuck there.
So
taking care of mama, making sure my mama don't need to cry. It's gonna be okay. I'm fine. We're gonna be fine. So yeah, I just get stuck there. Like if someone that I love is upset, or
that's the question I was just about to ask.
Whatever, my reflex is to try to take care of them and make it better than it is, whether I can or not. And I can't.
Yes.
At the end of the day, I can't.
So I just want to go back to just expressing to what I know that shadow work is for me, and I don't know all the technical terms about parts work and the stuff, but
you don't need to name everything, just do it.
Yeah. So the shadow work for me, I started to learn about that a little bit before I had met Pepper, and it's basically for me is inner child healing, because it's me going inside. So I've done a couple of those, and I've done a couple of those, and I started to express to him towards the end of his life's journey, I see you as this I know that this young Tyrone is stuck inside of you. I had created a meditation for a YouTube channel that I had, and I did a guided meditation with him. Well, we just listened to the meditation together, and I was in my own meditation and he was in his own meditation. And I started to try to do things with him, introduce him to things like that, things that would work for me or he would ask to participate in.
Yeah.
So just to give him this space, to do, just to feel, because, and then it wasn't until he actually passed away that I totally conceptualized what the fuck had happened.
Yeah.
What sits comfortably with me based on my assessment of the whole situation, the good, the bad, everything I was involved in, and just all the different areas of it. One thing that I will say that I learned from just my whole life experience, which I don't want to continue to talk too much about this in this video, but my whole life experience and my experience with him is that you're doing more harm when you're enabling bad behavior.
Yes.
Whether, like, you can't change anybody, but as painful as it is, separating yourself from that, or you know what I mean, like putting boundaries up for yourself, is going to help your person, your man specifically. It's going to help your man. That's how I feel. Like, it's going to help them. And it can't hurt them. That's how I feel. Like, it couldn't hurt them.
Right.
Because I actually feel like that, you know, the health, like if the man gets to the healthy place, like he can see that that's love.
Yeah.
Just continuing to participate in foolery is harmful, because I feel like you end up in situations like that where a person can be like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't know that I was, you know, I had this much stuff to work through.
Mm-hmm.
And
you know, I think part of it is kind of on our society, because it seems to me that what we even call manhood is mostly foolishness. And this is what I mean by that. The earth is populated with 8 billion individuals. Okay. And I use that word individual on purpose because none of us are the same. Okay. None of us are the same. We don't have, there's a different fingerprint for all 8 billion souls on this planet. Okay. So you are an individual, which means that you have an individual experience. Okay. And within that individual experience is the person who you are supposed to be, the person that's got leanings toward one way or another way, or up or down, or black or white, whatever it might be. And I think we spend a lot of time focusing on something that's out here that's telling us, oh, you got to look like this, you have to dress like that, you have to dress like this, and all this other nonsense. And it, at the end of the day, you're harming yourself.
Yeah.
You don't even know who you are. You don't even know who you are when you're in that space, right? It's like, because, you know, I mean, I like to, you know, I used to like to brag about this, and it's like the older I get, the more genuine I become because of what I've suffered. Okay. And it's like, I could walk into any room and be fine. Okay. I didn't grow up poor, but I speak the language, you know. I was in close enough proximity to it that I speak the language. Okay. I might not fit in, but I'll be accepted. I'll bet you that. And the same with whether it's a racial component. Okay. Philadelphia, as you know, is a melting pot. There's everything. When I was in kindergarten, I remember the Christmas play. We had a Jewish song. We sang Hava Nagila in a Christmas play.
Yeah, because it's a mixture of people in Philly.
Right. Yeah. Because of all the different, you know, people that were there, individuals that were there. It's like everybody don't celebrate Christmas in our school, so I guess we were a little progressive. But
yeah, I'm glad you had that type of experience.
Yeah, but you know, we want to be like, okay, well, a man is this and a man is that. No, I'm a man, and you don't get to decide what that looks like. Okay, and I think if you get over that, pardon my French, but if you get over that bullshit, that's a long way toward him. When you just decide, I'm gonna be me, all right. And you know what happens when you are your authentic self is you start to see other things lining up for you. Okay? Yeah. Those chance meetings aren't so chance anymore. They're just coming. The universe is just sending stuff to you. You know what I'm saying?
So I definitely have been having that experience. Like, it's kind of scary, actually, but that's another conversation. Because sometimes I'll be like, well, stuff is moving really fast. But I definitely did see Coach like coming, like starting to communicate about having boundaries with his family, you know, and just. but it just was very quickly, and that's why I decided like to be a little transparent about my experience with him.
Right.
Because I don't want others, like if the cliche saying that I say sometimes, like I could just help one person, you know, just to know like that men are extremely important. Like we definitely need y'all out here.
Mm-hmm.
And the pain that you suffer when you lose someone that you're close to like that is like, and I definitely feel like sometimes it could be preventable.
Oh, no doubt. Well, I think that that comes from us again, not being honest. I'll tell you a story real quick. The last time I went to Colorado, I visited with some friends of mine. You know, Pepper.
I'll tell you to go back just a little bit.
I'm sorry.
Glasses and all that.
Pepper and I used to live in Colorado, and I had some business to take care of last year out there. So I drove out, saw my kids, you know, all that stuff, and hung out with some buddies, you know, that I used to chill with. And one of them was my best friend when I lived in Denver. And to this day, you know, this is a cat that can call me anytime. I can call him anytime. What's up? You know, ride or die. So we're sitting in his backyard. No, it wasn't his backyard. It was a friend's backyard that worked for him. And he had just bought a new home, wanted us all to see it. So it was cool. And we were just having the most, they know I don't play. You know, and I'm also the old guy in the group too. I'm probably 15 years older than the oldest one. And I'm the old head, but they don't treat me like one most of the time.
Yeah.
In their shit. But I said, we were just sitting there having a great time, being real, you know, tears were shed even, you know, the whole thing. And the conversation shifted, and my buddy said something about, we were talking about gentrification in Denver. And he said, you know what it is, once they get the place cleaned up. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. I mean, we're all of us are black men and minorities in this space. And you're going to tell me that when they get us out, it gets cleaned up? What the fuck does that mean? Yeah. And I was like, are you serious right now? And I was like, you just slipped back into the programming. You know what I mean?
Yes. And holding your friend accountable.
Absolutely. Called it right out. And he said, you know what? I'm sorry, man. You're right. And I was like, we can be who we are here. This is a safe space. Okay. And if you can't create a safe space and you can't exist in a safe space, then you're in the wrong space.
Yes.
Okay. That's the way I feel about it.
Yes.
You know?
I totally agree.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's it. I totally agree on just like creating a safe space. And for me, that means that I don't not have boundaries for myself. Correct. In that space. And because like I said before, as we're interacting like with our partners and we're not like holding each other accountable and like growing, we're gonna die. Yeah. Period. Like if we're not growing, we're dying. And that's just what I just wish that I would have known before this experience happened.
And you know what else, Brittany? You're doing the work. You're doing work, whether you mean to or not. Okay.
I mean to.
Why not do the work on purpose and move in a direction that's beneficial to you, as opposed to one that just fits this old paradigm that you're married to, and you know, and you're playing by somebody else's rules.
Yes. So us men, well, you men and us women, we need to like break free of like the old paradigms, like no therapy stuff, or you know, stuff that I've heard, and you probably can contest to, like, you know, it's Black people don't go to therapy, or even like Coach, he was a therapist, but he was a therapist and then moved into life coaching because some of the therapy techniques he just wasn't comfortable with anymore. He wanted to do more coaching. And it's like he didn't have one for himself. And when I would bring that up, like he would just brush it off. I also feel like having a group of friends, like you have male friends that are doing something and not isolating yourself, because that's what I noticed too. Like a lot of men, they isolate themselves. They don't tell anybody because they have this pride or ego. They don't want to express to people, you know, and sometimes they do express, you know, unfortunately in my situation, his wife knew he was suicidal and she didn't tell nobody. So I'm still working through, I've talked about that on other episodes. I'm still working through like the anger with that.
Sure.
One thing I will say about that is the compassion part of me is like, she was still stuck in that toxic relationship with him because I was still stuck in toxic as well in my own way. That helps me sometimes, but I still feel like if a person in my life is suicidal, I didn't know about it. I didn't know. I never knew about that. I never had any experience with suicide. I don't know about that. I'm learning now since, you know, for my own healing. I just wish more men would speak up and not feel like it's girly or something that females do.
Right.
What's your perspective on that?
And again, you know,
I heard that a lot.
One of the things that I, you know, I struggle with, but I'm conscious of, is labeling everything. We don't have to name every damn thing. What is girly? What does that mean?
I know.
Who decided? No,
crying and emotional. That's the examples I've heard, but it's not. It's human.
Yes.
Human
Who decided? You have emotions. You have desires. You have preference. Whatever it is, it belongs to you. Own it. You know what I'm saying? Own
so
it.
I will, not to cut you off, but I will say, because I know that because this was my experience as well. We had to be in the street life very young.
Yeah.
So we're very programmed for that. Like now I'll cry. I don't care. They laugh at me and my family. They be like, oh, you know, that's just her. And if it was them, and I just feel like, you know, and like, as far as crying, he did cry a lot. Like I did see him cry a lot. But I didn't see him really express a lot in a healthy way outside of crying. And I really actually didn't really see him cry too much until I had cancer. Wow. So it was years that I didn't really see that side. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Always trying to be the protector, always wanting to be the leader of the family because he was the leader when he was 13 years old of the family.
Right.
So that was partially my experience too. Like, having to be outside, having to take care of myself when I was 15, 16 years old. So I know that we get programmed not to cry.
Well,
but go ahead.
The other thing with Brittany, and you know, we're going to go back to culture again. In our culture, United States, like everywhere, not just street, not just East Coast, West, whatever, none of that. But the culture of our country is fear and violence. I was telling a friend the other day, I said, name me somebody that they taught you was a hero when you were in elementary school learning about, you know, the origins of the United States, whatever it was. Name a hero that they told you was a hero in school that doesn't have blood on their hands. I dare you. Go ahead, try. Try.
I wouldn't try. I don't even know.
You can't do it. There is no one. The only people, the only thing that we're taught to revere is violence and fear. Yeah. Okay. And where does fear put? Fear puts you in survival mode. When you're in survival mode, you are not at your best at all unless you're being chased by a tiger. Okay? If you're being chased by a tiger, if your life is in danger, survival mode is where you need to be. Otherwise, get out of there. You are not living your best life by a long shot.
And as you're talking, I'm just thinking about like how, especially with men, how, you know, they're looked at to be providers. I don't know about this new age stuff they got going on right now. I'm no judging. I'm gonna talk about my experience. Like they looking at to be providers, leaders of the family, and it's like they have a lot of fear. I've seen with my experience with my partnership that there's a lot of fear of like failure. There's a lot of fear of not being able to like make sure the bills are good. So just making decisions, acting out of survival with that, staying
Yeah.
in relationships too long, because we should have broke up.
Right.
Go. So we probably shouldn't. If I'm not, and I'll never take away from my experience. I'm super grateful that we did that. I could have did away with the suicide and but we're here now. I'm not taking away from the experience because I learned a lot, good and bad. And I learned it actually helped catapult me more into my authentic selves, because now I just don't be giving a fuck. Like, I'm gonna do what I want.
Well, that's another thing, and people scratch their head when I say this, so I expect it'll meet a similar response here. But duty is violence.
You said what?
Duty is violence, and a lot of things. Yeah, in other words, you've got a duty to be a provider because that's what you were told when you were a child, right? You've got a duty to be a protector, even though you're a lover, not a fighter. You've got a duty to do this or that or whatever. It's violence because it's not your choice. Okay.
So you're being forced to do it.
You're forcing yourself to do it. So it's self-harm.
Yes.
Okay? I do things out of a sense. Don't get it twisted. I do things out of a sense of duty, but I also recognize that it's not necessarily every time I do that. It's always not self-care. A lot of times it's not. Okay. Like I recently cut off a friend that I've known for most of his life. Okay. And he was the younger brother of my best friend who I lost in 2019. Okay. And I've been there for this guy ever since his brother died. Okay. And I've never told him no. When he calls me for whatever, can you help me with this? Can you get in touch with these people for me? Can you do that? Whatever. Okay. He's got a background that, he had no business having because he grew up where I
Yeah.
and everything else. But, that's neither here nor there. I got to the point this week, and I just told Pepper this last night. I said, I'm cutting him out. I'm not enabling this behavior anymore.
Yep.
And I'm going to release him to his destiny. Don't answer the phone when he calls. Don't answer the Facebook Messenger or text message, none of that. Okay. Let him be who he needs to be. Okay. I'm going to hold him back from healing, and I'm not going to continue to harm myself because at this point, he's trying to manipulate me. Why would you want to manipulate somebody that never told you no?
Yeah.
You're not a good person. You understand what I'm saying? And I don't need that. Keep that over there.
Let me tell you about divine, and not divine intervention, whatever it's called that aligns me and you on this podcast.
Yeah.
that the intervention is like where it blocked us.
Right.
So that was the wrong saying. But it's crazy. I actually feel really better. I feel much better after this episode because I just did the same thing with my brother. And I actually had to take a whole, I finally was able to just fully cut him off, so I will say partially because my dad is here. And again, this is for the men because you have to make sure that you're not raising your kids up in an enabling environment. I did it with my son. We had a lot of healing that's going to come from that did, and that probably still will continue on down the line, even though we're in a good place. But this week I had to really just put my foot down and just let my brother know how I felt about some things. And I still get the same response, projecting off themselves onto me, blaming me for everything. And it really showed me that I, been with the same patterns, just with men in my whole, all the time. And then it's when my dad raised him enabling, just doing whatever and not helping him grow. I don't have to deal with that no more. And I came from a place where I told my dad, I said, at what point are you going to let your son grow up? Like,
Yeah.
and I told my dad this morning, like, Dad, I love him, but I'm not gonna have a relationship with him because he hurts me. And he's never gonna get to the, my dad's like, I feel bad because this, that, and the third, but he's never gonna get to the place where you're not gonna feel bad because you continue to keep doing that. Like, stop doing stuff for him, let him grow up. It's there comes a time where you have to do that because, like I said earlier, that person is going to be harmed by that, not helped. They're going to be
Correct.
helped in that moment, but in long term, they're going to be harmed.
Yeah.
And possible mental health issues and things of that nature. And we don't want that. We
Right.
want to be out here interacting with y'all. So I'm definitely super grateful for this episode because you told me like you got to do that for self-care. And man, listen, you got to do that for self-care. Like, you say no. Like, just say no. Like, say
No
no.
is a complete sentence.
Just no.
Yes.
Say
No.
no.
Not
If you
no because, not no whatever, not no fill in the blank. Just no.
just
Okay?
no.
And then be grateful to yourself that you
Yeah.
have the courage to take care of you.
Yeah.
And that's what I told him. I said, this isn't even about him, if I'm being honest. Now, I was a little sad at first. You know what I'm saying?
I'm glad you said that. Because it's painful.
Yeah, it was painful, and he's gonna suffer a little bit in this moment. But you know what? I had to choose me.
Yes.
Okay, I'm choosing myself first. Okay.
Yes.
You ain't worth a damn to nobody else if you aren't taking care of you.
You are not. You are not.
You know.
You are not.
And
feel
fellas, we feel like we gotta make all these sacrifices to be the bigger man and all that. But again, who is telling you this stuff? When was the last time? I think about this often. I'm like, when was the last time that I looked inside? I know when it was for me, but I ask my clients, when was the last time you looked inside and really investigated everything in there? Okay, one thing at a time. Just start unpacking shit. You know what I mean? How's this relationship going? Is this behavior benefiting me anymore? And just separating, if you will, if I can get religious for a minute, the wheat from the chaff, and saying, hey, this no longer serves me. I'm letting it go. Okay. And then, what, there's a beautiful thing about letting things go. One of my cousins years ago told me this. He said, and he was envious of something that I knew how to do that he didn't know how to do. And he's a religious guy, and he said he was asking God about it, and I want that, and I want Jimmy to do this or that. And I'm like, okay. And then he said, you know what God told me? He said, you sitting up here and you holding this man like this, okay? You're holding this man close to you like this, and you need to be holding people like this. Now, the beautiful thing about this posture is not only something might fall off, you know what I'm saying? There's a greater chance something's going to fall off as opposed to this, right? But you also allow what's supposed to come to you, what you genuinely want to attract to come toward you and get in. A lot of times we block our own blessings, if you will, because we're up in here. We're holding on to what we got and for more. And you got no room for more. Okay, you don't have any damn room for more because you're here instead of here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let it go.
Let it go. Let it go and let it come. All right. And that's what I've been doing. I've been allowing things in my life. This beautiful home that Pepper and I live in. We lived in this house for a year before we moved in it. Okay. In our minds. All right. In our minds. We were just allowing this place to come to us. Okay. I knew what we wanted. I knew the area I wanted to live in. I think we found we found the area we wanted to live in like the first week we moved to Albuquerque. And it was like, nah, if I'm gonna live out here, I want to live up in the mountains. You know what I mean? Somebody has to live here. Okay, they got
Yeah,
a house
y'all
there.
have a beautiful land, beautiful piece of property with the
Yeah.
roads and stuff and dogs
And
and
someone has to live here. Why shouldn't it be me? Why
yeah,
why don't I deserve to live here? Okay? Why shouldn't I? All right?
yeah,
And you know, you look at it, I mean, we were looking at it on paper. It was a damn joke a year, you know, the year before we got it. It was like it was like, man, we ain't got two nickels to rub together. You know, we had just been through some stuff, you know what I mean?
yeah.
And it's
But
like,
y'all manifested it.
but we had it inside. It's like, no, this is what I want. So I can't do that. I couldn't have been here if I was holding on to some old stuff. You
Oh my
understand? I
gosh.
couldn't have did this, right? We couldn't have been here. We couldn't be living our best life because I'm holding on to yesterday. And 80% of us, okay, or not 80% of us, almost all of us spend 80% of our time in one or two places, the past and the future.
Yeah, so I seen that in the video that I watched earlier of you guys,
Oh,
and like
okay.
I was stuck in my shit for 2 days. Then I was like, let me research for this episode. I was stuck in that my brother's shit for two
Yeah,
days.
yeah.
So I'm gonna research for this episode tonight. This is why we need y'all men, because if it was no men out here, I wouldn't have been doing this video, and I wouldn't have finally got what I needed from today. I need this shit about
That's all
me.
right. That's all right. That's all right. Yeah.
But I'm grateful
Yeah.
because I was stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the man guest, so we
And
need
that's what happens to us. We get stuck. We thinking about a damn mistake we made yesterday. Come on, man.
I
Let
know.
that go too. You know what I'm saying? Let that go. All right. You gotta have. I would tell people, I don't have. I don't have any memories of my failures.
Because you let him go.
It's done. What can I do about it? Right?
Yeah.
What can I do to change who I was? All right. What can
Every
I do?
second is who we was.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what. That's
Everything.
it. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't recall losing. I got no headspace for that. No energy to go that way. All right. You know?
Oh my gosh. I feel like this is so powerful. I
Do not give energy to this. All right. And very little to this. If you're present, you won't miss an opportunity. Opportunities come all the time, but we're so busy. We're stuck in yesterday or 10 minutes ago, even. You know what I mean? Oh man, I should have said this, or I should have done. No, it's over. Let it go. What's happening right now? Okay. For my
yeah.
employees, okay, I've got a team of guys, and every morning we start off with me getting everybody grounded, and I tell these guys,
Mm,
like, I say, hey, and today, like, I had, it started out rough. Everybody that came in the door in the morning was complaining about yesterday. Okay, what happened after I left? And I was like, okay, this person has offended this person and all. What? Okay, you know what? Ain't nobody gonna get no work done today if I let these guys stay here, right?
yeah.
So, you know, we started today, and I started it with an imagination exercise, and I've built up to this because, you know, typically I just have them do something physical to get everybody grounded, but today I was like, nah, I gotta reach, and I've earned their trust, so they just do what I say. You know what I mean? And today I had everybody imagine their favorite place. And I made a little joke. I was like, hey, even if that's your favorite bar stool, get there right now in your mind's eye. You know what I mean? And just be
Yeah.
there. And then I want you to imagine yourself in that space right now. What do you see? What do you smell? Most importantly, what do you feel? It feels good to be in that space, right? You know what I'm saying? And let them sit there and soak in that for just a minute, just 1 minute. People
Mm,
were disappointed when I said it was time to go because they bought in, right?
yeah.
They bought in, and it's safe because we've been doing it. Everybody's doing it. You know, when I first started practicing this with them, it was always a couple guys rolling their eyes, stuff like that. Now they're looking forward to it. Guys
Yeah.
are thanking me when they see me. Hey, James, thanks for doing those exercises in the morning. It's really helpful. And I'm like, they can help you throughout the day too. You can always recall something that I taught you, and and do it when you get frustrated to get yourself back into the moment. You know what I mean?
So grounding is good. And then I also just want to touch, because y'all talked about somatic exercises.
Yeah.
I know for me, I'm not sure if breathing is a somatic
Yes, it
exercise.
is.
That's
Yes,
what I thought.
it
And
can
then
be. Yeah.
also the tapping. I've done tapping as a somatic exercise.
Yeah. Yeah. For
So
sure.
that's really good too.
Well,
So
there's also exercises that I teach that will reset your nervous system. Like when you find yourself in service to survival and you don't want to be there anymore because you're not being chased by a tiger, and you need to get back on track. There's a reset that you can do. There are plenty of them, and I mean, I can show you one now if you want. You want to do it with me?
yeah, so I want to do an example, and then because we're gonna, if you don't have anything else to talk about based on the conversation,
Mm-hmm.
if not, we're gonna move into just an exercise, because I want our Where I'm From podcast community to just know, like, and see, like, and have like some type of experience with you, because I'm gonna have all of your information in the description down below.
Okay.
And I highly recommend, listen, I don't know about sayings, but they're married. So Pepper is awesome. I'm sure she chose an awesome husband first. So if y'all need somebody that that is on a coaching and like that can work with you in trauma recovery to create a safe space with you. So yeah, I would like to do an episode.
Oh, I would love to do one with Pepper. Yeah.
So what?
I would love to do an episode with both of us.
Oh no, so we're gonna do that. No, what I mean is
Oh, okay.
no. I was saying
I'm
that
sorry.
I'm sure you're great too. So that's why I'm recommending you to, because do you just work with, that's another question I have. Do you work with guys and females?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay. So, and not just entrepreneurs, right?
that's correct. Yeah.
Okay. So not just entrepreneurs, and with men and women. So that's
Men,
perfect.
women, and organizations. We're actually
Oh, that's
doing
what I mean by
uh
businesses.
we're actually doing middle school and high school on Monday, teaching the staff uh mental health practices or mindfulness practices and somatic work.
Yeah, mindfulness too. That's awesome too. That's awesome. That's what you meant by businesses, the
Yeah. Yeah.
organizations. Okay, yeah.
Well,
So
I mean, you can imagine how stressful a teacher can get during the day. You know.
yeah, yes. So it helps them to be able to manage themselves and not be like
Correct.
abusive children.
As well as make themselves their best self for those students.
Oh yeah, that's great. So yes, we're gonna do a thematic episode. Not a
Okay.
thematic episode, a
Exercise.
thematic exercise. All right, I'm just gonna follow your lead.
Okay. What we're gonna do first is set up a baseline. So
All
what I
right.
want you to do is look as far as you can um, to your left, okay,
Okay.
without hurting. So just turn your head as far as you can to the left until it starts to give you resistance, okay, and notice where your head is. And when you've gone as far as you can, come back to the center. Okay, now do the other direction to your right as far as you can until you get resistance. Notice where it is and bring your head back to the center. Okay, now take your hands and lace them together like this. Place the cradle in the back of your head, right? I'm stuck. Hold on.
You stuck? Oh,
No,
baby,
I forgot what I was doing.
I get stuck too. It's fine.
Hold on here a sec. All right. Okay. And now I want you to take a deep breath in through your nose Out through your mouth. One more time. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. Now take your eyes, just your eyes, without moving your head, and turn them as far as you can to the left. And we're going to hold it there for 30 seconds, starting now.
Like open them?
Yeah.
Oh.
And just move your eyes as far as you can to your left. $15 more seconds. 10 more seconds. Okay, now bring your eyes back to the center. Take a deep breath in your nose, out the mouth. Now turn your eyes as far as you can to the right and hold it there for 30 seconds. $15 more seconds. 10 more seconds. 5 more. And bring your eyes back to the center. Take a deep breath in your nose and out your mouth. Now take your hands down. Now try to look to your left as far as you can again. Can you move your head further?
Oh, now my eyes. I'm tripping.
Did your head go further than it did before it met resistance this time?
Yeah, I kind of feel like it went further. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now try the other way.
Definitely on this side, it went further.
Yeah.
It's like you released pressure in my neck.
Yeah, well, what we did was we reset your ventral vagal. That's all we just did. And, you know,
we talked about it in episode 3. We talked about it in Pepper's episode because we talked about her the book with the rest of it.
Yeah, she is really geeking out. And it drives me crazy because it's like she knows a lot. Don't get me wrong. She knows
Mark.
Yeah. And but I don't get caught up in names. Like I don't like labeling stuff. I'm like, look, this will fix
scientific terms, yeah.
Yeah, because you know, your average person is gonna start snoring if you start talking about, you know, your ventral vagal nervous system, you know, all that. They're like, what?
So that's why y'all a good combination, though. Yeah. Shout out to Pepper.
Big time. That's my baby.
But I see on the video you were like giving her affirmations because she was like she wrote a book, and I must say you wrote it very well.
She did.
She did.
She's fantastic. And speaking of, she'll be having a second edition of the book next year. So
yeah, we're gonna be on it. We'll definitely be promoting that and posting that.
For sure.
Appreciate it. Huh?
Appreciate it.
Oh yeah, I appreciate y'all too. Like I'm telling you, listen, like I have a therapist and a coach, and Pepper is my coach. And when I need to do EMDR, I talked about it on another. I work with the therapist.
Okay.
When I want to do shadow work and inner child healing and trauma recovery, so I know that I need both. Right. So I've been working with both of them for a while, and I just let my therapist know I'm gonna go back and do some shadow work because I told you that y'all started working on me this morning. Yeah. So I texted Pepper a couple days ago, but I texted her again today and was like, listen, I gotta get back in here and do this because I've been stuck in little girl Brittany part for 2 days, pissed off at my brother. And I took my day off of work to take care of my mental health and just make sure that I was good. to go back to work tomorrow in the salon. So I'm not only a podcaster, I own a salon.
Right
so
on. Yeah.
yes, I own a salon. So again, I just want to thank you. Especially, I wasn't even thinking about us doing an exercise. It just added like so much more to the video.
Thank you.
It's a grounding exercise, and it helps to like release like pressure, man. And breathing also helps a lot too. Like just getting like when I get really angry, I do a lot of breathing. Man, y'all can do this. I got a boxing bag, so make sure y'all get to the gym. And so another thing is, and this is just an example I'm gonna give to y'all too, because man, y'all can do this too in your house. If you feel like you don't want to do this in the gym, cool, I get that. But if you got a boxing bag at your house, put somebody's face up there. Like, put somebody's face up there. So I would put somebody's face, or write down what you're mad at, whether that's yourself or whatever, and just punch it. Just get that stuff out of you. That's my example.
Move it out of your body. We call that body work. Get it out of your body. All right?
Get it out of your body. Address it. Journal. Write that stuff down with you. Whatever you feel like works for you. If you feel like it's, you want to do something else other than, but I definitely feel like talking with someone, whether it be a group of friends or coaching or a therapist or, whatever works for you. So we're going to close out this video. We're definitely going to do an episode with you and Pepper. In a couple weeks, I'm going to get y'all on the books.
Right on.
And I want to just say thank you to the Where I'm From podcast for sharing this space with us. I'm super grateful for this episode. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share, and hit the notification bell so you can be alerted when all new episodes come out. And until next time, be kind to yourself, give yourself grace. As I always say, I would like to believe that we're all out here trying to do the best that we can. And if you're not, then we are. So until next time, enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you. Bye.
Namaste.